Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Higher or Lower, the show brought to you by oddschecker, SpreadX and Sporting Index, where we look ahead to the weekend's football and say if we think the eventual results of the spread betting markets will be higher or lower. I'm your host, George Ellick, and joined for a special FA Cup weekend. Yes! Premier League teams taking on EFL teams. This is my bread and butter, but I'm joined by Jack Wright.
Hello.
And Dan Worth to my right.
Hiya.
You all right? You busy?
Yeah, I'm always busy, mate.
Emails?
Emails.
Who are you emailing?
You.
Normally me. So I used to, when I'm trying to find the running order for this, I normally just type in your name into my Gmail. And it used to be the only emails I ever got from you. And now I get 15 a day, so it's quite hard to find it.
That's good, isn't it?
Yes, I see a lot of you. FA Cup weekend, you excited about this?
Yeah. There's a lot of football going on at the moment, which is there's a lot of rationale actually for some of my picks today.
But isn't it
but
quite
it's exciting, isn't it?
Quite nice, it's nearly March.
Yeah, I mean, before we know it,
There's
it's playoff
Cheltenham
push.
Festival coming
Yeah,
up soon.
Cheltenham Festival is...
SpreadX, Sporting Index. Got you covered there as well.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
And oddschecker.
And oddschecker.
Not whoscored.com.
Not who scored.
Yet.
Not yet, yeah. I don't know what that would be.
What would be the...
Who jumped?
Who jumped?
No, only good for half the season.
Yeah. Who won?
Who won?
Who finished first.com. Okay, this is
God, we're clearly in marketing, aren't we?
lukewarm banter.
What is interesting, George, is that Dan obviously was off ill last week. So welcome back, Dan. Good to have you back.
Thanks, mate.
How are you?
Yeah, good as gold. Feeling much better. Ready to...
What was the lurgy?
Man flu. Yeah, coughing
vicious.
and spluttering everywhere, which I thought in this close quarters would be a little bit unfair on you two. So
Too right. I'm very happy you
No,
didn't come in.
clear.
You healthy?
I'm very healthy, yeah. Absolutely on top form.
Healthy and happy?
Very happy, yeah. Both of those things. Tick both boxes excessively.
Okay.
But I was ill for the last FA Cup round, the game before that.
Which sadly means it's probably my turn next.
Could
isn't
be,
it?
yeah.
Although last year I was ill so often that maybe I've done my turn already.
Maybe so, yeah.
That would be really handy because I don't want to be ill if that's possible.
But we've seen put our strongest team together for the FA Cup. Which
Yes,
is, you know,
which not many teams
no,
do.
which is quite the reverse for
Yeah.
most teams.
Okay, well, let's get into it after that really nice bit of small talk to kick off the show. We're going to start with Aston Villa versus Cardiff, the Anwar El Ghazi derby. El Ghazi will be lining up, you'd have thought, for Cardiff in this one, so interesting to see what kind of reception he gets, said no one. Total goal minutes is the line with SpreadX we're looking at here, 170.5, so quite a high line.
It's high, isn't it?
163 to sell, 178 to buy. This is the total cumulative minutes that goals are scored within the game. So you want late goals and lots of goals for high, no goals and early goals for lower. 3, 2, 1.
Oh.
Go on, the goal man.
It's the FA Cup, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so a couple of reasons for this. Firstly, Villa games generally pretty end-to-end, I would say. We saw that with the Liverpool game a couple of weeks ago, even the Chelsea game on Saturday afternoon, and then you look at what happened in midweek against Palace, where they're put to the sword. They lose 4-1. They played a lot of football recently. And, obviously they're favourites for this game, and I expect that they will win. But in Cardiff, you've got quite an interesting case where you've got a team who are struggling towards the bottom end of the table. But in Omar Ritza, they've got a manager whose philosophy is very much an attacking philosophy. And we see them consistently throwing a lot of men forward and trying to take the game to the opposition. So if I'm right and Villa are ahead in this game by a goal or 2 goals for the majority, I think Cardiff will continue throwing men forward to try and get back in the game rather than kind of settle for a defeat and we'll see it peter out. So this is particularly a case of late goals where it may not be, a 5-3 or whatever, but I think this could easily be a 3-1, even possibly a 2-1, where the goals come late because of the end-to-end nature of how Cardiff will approach it, meaning we get over this relatively high line. Jack, you look unconvinced.
Yeah, I'm totally unconvinced by that. Well, firstly, congratulations for just seamlessly throwing in petered out. First catchphrase.
Thank you.
And correctly used as well, which
thank
is
you.
quite unusual for
Thanks.
us
Fair play.
on that one. But
They're going to peter Villa out.
Yeah,
That's how you'd use it.
it is how I'd use it. I don't know if that's the case though.
No.
no, well, Villa are second favourites for the FA Cup, aren't they? I was looking through the SpreadX market, 49.5 they've got. Now that is based on points that if they lose in this round, you get 20 points. If you lose in the quarterfinals, you get 33 points. If you get to the semi-finals, it's 50 points. If you come runners-up, you get 70 points. And if you win it, you get 100 points. Nice. The line set, well, the midpoint is 49.5. Second favourites, Cardiff's midpoint is 22. Of interest. Yeah. So, anyway, game state is where I put this one in. I think the ideal scenarios for these two clubs would be, for Villa, would be to take a 2 or 3 goal early lead. They've obviously got a massive fixture with Club Brugge coming up next week in the Champions League. I think that will take a context in it. You'd assume they're going to be fairly well rotated for this, but have the ability to do that in forward areas. We've seen the amount of players they've got there that you assume that the likes of Watkins and possibly, God, I've forgotten his name. Morgan Rogers. I forget his name. Coming out of this one. But yeah, so that's what they'd want, assume from that. And for Cardiff, I think taking an early lead, like they did against Sheffield United, and then would take a 1-0 and like defend it. I know you said about Riz's kind of approach to the game, and I get that. But coming up against Villa might be a tougher task for them. Looking at Cardiff would worry me as far as their chances they give away is concerned. They're third worst as far as goals against in Championship is concerned, 5th worst for expected goals against, and they're second worst as far as expected goals per shot is concerned. So I think Villa will take those opportunities. I personally think Villa will make a kind of short work of this, and then kind of game manage it, wrap their main men in cotton wool and go from there. Cardiff obviously got a big game midweek.
I love using game manage it as a verb.
Game manager, yeah. I think, yes, game management will come into play. And Cardiff's obviously got Burnley in midweek. So big game for them in their battle for survival. So that's on Tuesday. But there we go, yeah. So for me, I'm going lower.
Dan.
What more can I add to that? That's pretty substantial. I think my stance here is more just that I think it's a slightly high line in a game that I don't really know that much. I don't know that much about Cardiff. So it scares me that you've gone higher because...
Much about Cardiff.
Not this season, mate. I've not really...
Yaku Mate?
Yeah, he's a bit out of favour though, isn't he?
Yeah.
Don't think he's a huge
You know
fan.
all about him though.
He should definitely come back to Reading. I love that
Yeah.
guy. Yeah, he's such a good guy. So happy, but it doesn't look like he's so happy at the
I've
moment.
never seen you smile so much.
He's great. So I looked at the game that Villa obviously won against Spurs, 3 goals in that game, two early ones, and even with a 91st minute goal, only made up 156. I'm thinking not that Cardiff are the same as Spurs by any stretch, but I'm kind of anticipating Villa getting a 1 or 2 goal lead and kind of just petering it out.
Game managing it.
There you go.
Just aggressively
and the
petering
game
it
petering out. There's lots of question marks for me here around who's going to play for Villa. Obviously, they're not in the best of form at the moment, but yeah, I do think they get an early lead and see out from there.
Nice. On to an all-London clash. South London clash, I should
huge
say.
game.
Crystal Palace against Millwall.
Exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is a proper cup tie.
Yeah, but you and I have also spoken a lot about Millwall and goals recently.
We have.
2.65 is midpoint with Spreadex for the total goals here. 2.55 to sell, 2.75 to buy. So, pretty low line.
Pretty low.
What do we say? 3, 2, 1.
Yes.
Or higher.
Yes.
You had nothing to say on the last one. So is that why? Go on,
No,
it's
another former Royal.
It's just Reading, isn't it?
He's scored 2 against Leeds in the last round.
He did.
I'm a huge
in a
fan
game
of him.
where,
Go on.
Well, let's just say I don't think Leeds' performance that day really respected the magic of the FA Cup.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But
Felt like
that's quite
they
often the case,
didn't
isn't it?
really care. And I personally think they had a chance of winning it if they'd gone for it. So,
Really?
yeah.
That's strong.
Well, I think Leeds are basically a mid-table Premier League side.
That's interesting.
Thanks.
We'll have this chat again probably at the start of next season
Well, they might be worse then.
when we look at their points predictions.
Yeah, I'll probably be buying.
Yeah.
But I think they'll be priced up a lot higher than most promoted.
Yeah, that's
anyway,
valid.
Where would you pitch it? I've got a figure in my head.
Like mid-40s.
Oh.
Ooh, I was
37.
Yeah, I was
Really?
going to go 36.5.
Okay, interesting. Maybe early 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Do they keep? I know that's another show. Yeah.
Palace
Yes, they
obviously coming on a little bit now, aren't they? Picking up a bit of form.
Oh.
4 wins in their last 5 across all competitions. But like I often do when the line here is below 3, I'm looking at this game that I think both teams score, which is a very solid base, and then you only need one more goal for this bet to be a winner. So I think higher, leaning towards higher. I don't know if it's going to be a massive goal fest. I don't know if there's going to be 4, 5, 6.
No one does.
I think 3 is very, very achievable.
I think it feasibly could be quite a high-scoring game. Like again, cup games, always happy to go higher for cup games because there's no the team who are behind can just throw caution to the wind. You've got to score goals to stay in these games, and they often become pretty end-to-end. Basically, every Millwall game at the moment is priced up really low. For some strange reason, someone out there is convinced that Millwall games are low-scoring, but the actual evidence is that they're fairly average in terms of goal output. And Alex Neil, they've got a manager who isn't particularly defensive-minded. The January business suggested to me he's trying to change the culture and the way the team play. Up against the Palace side, they have loads of attacking output, and I don't see any reason why. Like if you replace Palace here with, I don't know, Sheffield Wednesday, for example, this line would be significantly higher. But I don't think there's a great deal between the attacking output and defensive solidity and even the way they approach the game between Millwall and most Championship sides right now. But they are just for some reason seen to be the team that drive goal lines down. So happy to jump on the other side.
Indeed, so this is probably my favourite FA Cup tie of the whole weekend, to be honest. Unfortunately, it's one I won't be able to watch.
Preston, is it? You've chosen a non-TV game?
No, it's lunchtime, Saturday.
What are you going to be
I've got
doing?
other fish to fry.
So have I, actually.
So have you, indeed. So shame. Multi-screen.
Different fish.
Different fish.
Yeah.
Different fish, yeah. So, but yeah, I agree. So we have talked a lot about Millwall and their goals and the goal line, and Alex Neil is looking to change it. They've scored in every away game under Alex Neil since he came to the club, including 2, as you've already mentioned, in that last round against Leeds, which, regardless of how Leeds took it, it's still a decent achievement to go to Leeds and score 2 goals, regardless of the team they put out. And Palace look like they're back to the side that we saw under Glasner at the back end of last season. They had a bit of a struggle at the start, probably understandably, with, let's go for another Reading player, Michael Elise. Obviously not Reading anymore. He's now gone to a smaller club in Bayern Munich. But yeah,
Good player, though.
Not bad.
Yeah, he's all right, isn't he?
Not bad, yeah. So they've obviously had to overcome that. I think they're at that point in time. They've got a striker in Mateta. I think when you look at strikers, it's how they're striking the ball gives you an example of their confidence, and he's hitting it so sweet at the moment with confidence, hitting it early, taking it early, scoring plenty of goals. They've got Ezer, Adam Wharton, a player that you like, Daniel Munoz, a player that I really like.
Fit
again, indeed. So, yeah, so they've got lots to like about Palace, and so I think this will be a really exciting game. White-hot atmosphere, say 2 local rivals in the FA Cup, so it's got all the makings of it. So I think Palace, a huge chance to say. I've gone through all the odds with SpreadX as far as the winners are concerned. Palace rated at 43.5, Palace and Millwall 23. But so I think it's a huge chance for Palace to progress deep into the cup and possibly even win it. I think they're definitely safe in the league right now. That goes without saying. They're probably too far to get into the European places, and a brilliant opportunity to go to Wembley and win some silverware. So, yeah, I think they will take it super seriously. I think it'll be an open, exciting and entertaining game. We're basically saying this is a higher or lower than 2.5 goal game. And I certainly think higher for me. And the one game that sticks in my mind at the start of the season was the League Cup tie that Palace had, where it went very strong against my side and they beat us 4-0. So I think that's the sort of flair they have available to them. And so it should be an exciting watch.
Should be. I'm excited for it too.
Good.
As with you, I won't be watching it. Right, the third game on the docket, Man City against Plymouth Argyle. City over Argyle, supremacy here is 3 is the midpoint. Huge. So exactly 3 is going to be a push. So you need 4 or more for higher to win, 2 or fewer.
God, surely writes itself. Doesn't it?
3, 2, 1.
No. No. Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, you go first. You said lower.
Mate, you need City to win by 4 goals.
No, I don't. 3 is a push.
Right. Yeah.
So you
Paying
basically
for
have to work
pushes.
out what is more likely: a draw, an Argyle win, 1 or 2, or 4 or more. And I'll go first if you want. My strongest fixed odds bet of the weekend. So City are 11 on to win this game.
Yeah, wow.
And they're 4-6 to win to 0. And that is madness. And this is someone who's had my fingers burnt backing Brentford to 0, Argyle 1-1-0, backing Liverpool to 0, Argyle 1-1-0. But if you look at Argyle's away attacking output, and I've had a bit of engagement with a bit of chat with some Argyle fans on Twitter yesterday, who are telling me under Muslic, their new manager, they are massively improving. And that might be the case. Like, I'm not saying it's not the case, but away from home, their performances are like unbelievably bad from an attacking perspective, right? So if you look at their recent away games, they drew 1-1 at Luton last month. Luton are the worst team in the league right now, bottom of the league. Their only attack of any note, and I was on Luton to 0 here, obviously. Their only attack of any note was when Luton's centre-back, Mark McGuinness, who's 6'5", went off to get treatment. Throwing comes in from Argyle, put across in the box. Their giant centre-back, Maxi, is competing with Amari Bell, who's like 5'2", and nods in the back of the net. 1-1. That's the only.
This has burnt George so much. He's now mentioned it 2 weeks running.
Yeah, right. Game before that,
Yeah.
they go to Blackburn Rovers. They lose the game 2-0. They have 7 shots, and again, nothing really of note. Like, didn't create any great chances. Against Sunderland, they drew 2-2. A way better performance. In the first half of that game, they had 1 shot in the whole first half. They had a very good spell in the second half. But again, like, massive red flags. Away at Stoke, arguably one of the worst teams defensively in the whole division. They had 2 shots, like, from range in the first half an hour, and then didn't have another shot for the rest of the game, and they drew the game 0-0. They are, from an attacking perspective, away from home so bad that I just cannot factor them in for a single goal in this game. Like, if they might score, of course they might score. You know, they've got players that they might improve for the cup or whatever, they might score. But if I'm going to this thinking that Argyle are basically locked to score 0 goals, then the question for me now becomes, do I think City are going to score 2 or fewer, or 4 or more? And I've got to go 4 or more given the firepower they've got. What have you got for me?
Well, I was just... You focused a lot on Plymouth scoring. I haven't really come at this suggesting that they will. I just don't think City are going to score 4 or more. And as you say, yeah, if they win 3-0, we're all content with not losing any money. But Plymouth have only conceded 3 or more once in 2025. So like they're not conceding loads and loads of goals at the moment. That said, obviously City are one of the hardest teams you can face.
This isn't Stoke or Blackburn. This is Manchester City.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
And City do really need to win. This is pretty much their only chance for a trophy this season now, isn't it? So they'll be very keen to win. But then you look at their game against Leyton Orient, and that was no walk in the park for them. And given Leyton Orient are a very good League One side, they're probably a pretty similar matchup to Plymouth. I'm saying that without really watching any Plymouth games this season, so you feel free to disagree. But I think that's quite a fair comparison.
Who did you say?
Leyton Orient and Plymouth.
It's a great question. Who are better, Leyton Orient at home or Plymouth away from home? I would... Not much in it. I mean, if they were picking prices, Orient hosting Argyle at home now, I'd back Orient 100%.
Yeah. Well, so that kind of is what I'm saying. So that backs me up. Yeah. I think they're 2 teams that you can compare nicely again, coming up against Man City.
I would just love to know at what level does Argyle's away output improve?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I hadn't factored that in.
Right.
But basically, I think Man City probably win this 2-0, 2-1. And this comes in on my side.
2-1.
No, I think City win this. 63 is the midpoint for them in the FA Cup. Man City, Plymouth's 21.25. I think that sums up where they think the result's going to go in this one, certainly. And this is now a big competition for City, as you said. And they've also been strong at home this season. They have lost 4 games at home. Liverpool, Real Madrid, Manchester United and Tottenham. They've drawn 4, Inter Milan, Arsenal, Feyenoord and Everton. And then they've taken care of business pretty convincingly the rest of the games. Half of their 12 wins have come by at least 3 goals. And I just feel that they've got 8 days until their next fixture, which is kind of unheard of for Manchester City over the last few years. So I think that will mean this will be a stronger side than we probably would have expected. Even if it is rotated, you look who's on the bench for last night's win at Tottenham: Kevin De Bruyne, Foden, Grealish, McAtee, Bernardo Silva, Gundogan. There's so much like that talent in those forward areas that could come in here. Haaland obviously was only back after his injury, so will he get some game time? Maybe, maybe not. But they're at home, so I think they'll want to go and put on a show and win this convincingly, as they should. And as a lower ranked Championship side, what do Plymouth expect or want from the FA Cup? A giant killing at home, which they've got beaten Liverpool, incredible elite English side, and then a day out, which they're going to get at the Etihad against an elite English side. This kind of what the FA Cup for that kind of side is the best you can hope for. And the final point for me, as far as Plymouth are concerned, is that they play Hull on Tuesday night, which is an absolutely massive game. So on that basis, I think
the level of importance of that game compared to this, it's a bit of a disaster for them really that they've got this coming up so soon before, because obviously for the fans it's a massive opportunity, but like it's the worst possible prep, isn't it, for a game of that magnitude? And
they can't risk their key players. They can't risk their key players, can they?
I would almost say if they do win,
worse.
What's that going to take out of them?
It depends, isn't it?
On what?
Well, just like a chill last minute goal, go home, ready to go. We just beat the best team in the world last season. Now we've got to play Ruben Sellers' Hull.
Oh, it's another red and drop.
Yeah, we're doing well so far. Every market. I actually had loaded up Nathan Ake here, but I don't know if he's going to play or not. But he's ex-ready. Might struggle in the next one though.
Yeah. Anyway, City are going to win this by at least 4.
Okay, City to win by 4, and I'm in full agreement. On to Newcastle Brighton here. First match goal is the market. 30 to sell, 33 to buy, 31.5 is the midpoint. Goalsy this, isn't it? Let's see. 3.
Smells a bit like it, doesn't it?
2, 1. Jack, take us away.
Newcastle Brighton, goalsy, isn't it? And another big atmosphere you'd expect at St James's Park. Two sides that are front foot, they look to attack. And again, it's a big tournament for both these sides, big competition. Newcastle in the League Cup final, but obviously a very tricky tie for them there. And rated 43.5 versus 33.5 in the SpreadX outright market here. So expecting Newcastle to go deeper. But I say, for me, Brighton are a big part of the reason why I'm going lower for an early goal. This is kind of quite a lowish line, isn't it, as far as the average is concerned for first goals. Brighton are going to attack Newcastle. If Brighton are attacking Newcastle, both sides are going to start off front foot. And in transitions, they'll have opportunities. Saw that with Brighton in a brilliant game against Bournemouth in midweek. Really enjoyed that. It's one of the best games I've seen for a while. Both sides just going at it. It was end to end. Should have been more goals than there was in it, but there was an early goal there as well after 12 minutes, and I can see a very similar theme developing here. Their front players for Brighton are in sparkling form, all of them, whichever variation they decide to go with here. Minte obviously against his old club, a club that didn't really want to let him go, but kind of had to. And I say Newcastle, Isak looks like he's got an injury, but that opens the way for Callum Wilson, who had a couple of good chances in midweek. But I think, again, Newcastle's got 8 days until our next fixture, so there's not a real problem as far as having to rotate too heavily. And Brighton have got 6. So, again, both sides can go full strength here in a competition that they want to have a big say in winning. So, 5 of the last 7 meetings have gone lower between these two sides. The league game it was 35 actually, so that was the one that was is an outlier to that. Anyone that is going the other side of it, there has been 4 0-0 draws in the last 14 meetings between the sides. It was quite a high level, which was a surprise.
Sounds like that's got to level out, hasn't it?
Newcastle and Brighton, yeah, exactly right. And well,
that's probably dating back to the Brucey days, isn't it? 14.
Probably, yeah, must do, yeah.
So
that's
but,
3. The last 5 have seen this line go under in 3 of those 5. So I think I expect how this game pans out to be a lower.
Dan?
Yeah, I've gone higher here purely based on the average time.
You went higher?
Yeah, sorry,
did I not? There and
maybe I put up the wrong one, but I meant to do
higher. Sorry, my bad.
That's all okay.
Apologies.
Largely down to the average time of first goal scored from these two in the Prem, which is 51st minute for Brighton and 44th minute for Newcastle. That mixed with the fact I don't know what's going on with Isaac. I think he's probably going to be outright.
I'd assume.
So relying on Callum Wilson, which, don't get me wrong, he's more than capable. He has his own injury concerns. Yeah, the averages swayed it for me, to be honest. So the compelling argument you just put forward is a slight concern to me. I'm not overly confident on this, but the line is bang down the middle, isn't it? So it's pick 'em for me, and I've sided with higher.
Yeah, I've just got some concerns about Newcastle defensively. Like as good as the win against Forest was, that first half was manic. Like chances at both ends, and even though they are obviously a very good attacking force, they do leave themselves open on the counter, and Brighton are very good at exposing that. I think Newcastle will approach this the same way as they did against Forest. They'll come out and try and start fast, but in Brighton they've got a team who aren't just going to sit off and try and weather the storm. They'll try and hit them back, and it's very easy to see either of these teams going ahead in the first half an hour. So, in full agreement with Jack. United hosting Fulham now is our final match to cover in depth. Sporting Index midpoint here is 0.3, so higher in the Supremacy is the United win, lower is Fulham or draw. 3, 2, 1. Strong
Definitely.
one.
That is the signal, the universally recognised signal for strongest play of the week. What is this line?
No, mate, United keep winning. What are you talking about? They keep picking up points. Did you not see them against Ipswich? 10 men? 3-2?
Turning point.
Yeah. What is this line? Double chance on Fulham. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Very, very much indeed. Yeah. Man United, well, you were there. You were at Goodison, weren't you?
How was it?
Yeah, it was really good.
Was it?
Yeah.
Quite annoying. I mean, how annoying was that penalty palaver?
Yeah, I mean, I was saying to Jack earlier.
Or had you left?
No, I hadn't left. But, and I don't need to say this to you because I'm sure you're in full agreement. But the VAR is so boring.
Yeah.
Like, it took literally 5+ minutes to work out whether that's a penalty or not. It's a penalty or it isn't. It doesn't take 5 minutes. 2 minutes to wait to be called over to the screen, and then 3 minutes to look at it. It's really boring at the end of the game. And then he finally made the decision. Obviously not Everton's way. That's when I left. That's when I left.
Did you slam your seat as you walked out?
No, but my girlfriend's dad wasn't the happiest. No, it's so boring. Like, it really, it didn't ruin the experience, of course. But
keep making these noises about it being trialled in the EFL, and I've always been so convinced that because of the manpower needed to make it happen, it would just be impossible to roll it out over that bigger volume. But the fact that you keep hearing these reports that they're going to trial it, it scares the bejesus out of me.
Yeah,
it is terrible.
It's terrible. And the whole point is that you get more people involved to make a decision, right? But the report, so that the actual clip they showed the referee is after the foul. Well, the foul. So what are you showing him?
I just think
seen
it's
what?
so...
But that, we mentioned this before, that's a subjective decision.
Yeah,
and if you're getting the referee,
absolutely.
the assistant referee, the VAR and the assistant VAR, possibly the fourth official, you've got 5 different people's opinions.
I agree.
On something.
I think they should get rid of the monitor and just be like, because if you're sitting to the monitor, it's like, oh, you should have another look at this. I think it should be like, that is wrong. You made a wrong decision.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Change it.
I think they need a stop clock. 60. If you can't come up with a decision in 60
then
seconds, then it's obviously not clear and
that
obvious.
opens up other issues where there might be an obvious one and they don't do it in time and therefore it gets.
Yeah, that's fine though. But then everyone knows. Boom, 60 seconds. Clock comes up on the screen.
Pandora's box is opened.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
Come to the EFL. It is lovely. We have terrible decisions. Everyone moans for 30 seconds, then you forget about it.
But this is exactly what I was saying.
It's joy.
As a Reading fan, I honestly don't. I mean, I'll moan at the game, obviously, if a decision goes wrong, but I'd rather that and it just plays on and flows and it's all nice and lovely than have to sit through 90 minutes of which, in the end, 10 of those were waiting for a decision to be made. Yeah. Anyway, Man United, Fulham, back to you. Sorry.
But what I was going to say is, how good were Man United against Everton?
Terrible.
Thank you.
Really didn't deserve the draw. But
yeah. So that was that. They got out of jail a little bit against Ipswich. They've been absolutely atrocious at home. They're very closely matched in the outright market, which I've been talking about all show. But 36.5 for Manchester United, 34.5 for Fulham. So it's a little bit of a pick 'em there, and we're getting double chance here on Fulham in this particular fixture. And so when I look at it, they bounced back well. They had a poor result at the weekend. They were poor against Palace, but then came back with a very tricky tie, a tails-up Wolves. They went and won there, which I thought was very impressive. Only the top 3 have won more points on the road than Fulham this season in the Premier League, which shows you how good they are away from Craven Cottage. Man United have lost 5 of their 8 home league games. Their 3 wins have come against a Dyche-era Everton a Southampton, where they were very fortunate, where Diallo hit a hat-trick in the final 10 minutes, and Ipswich this week. So that's, I'd say, 5 of 8 under Amorim in the league. So I look at Fulham, they've got lots of rotation. It was interesting that Raul Jimenez, Alex Iwobi, and your good friend, Mr. Robinson, were on the bench in midweek, as if to say, we're going to be using those at the weekend and we want to keep them ready to go. But I've got threat again. Munas was in from the start and scored. He will likely return to the bench. Traore was in. Again, another one that possibly go to the bench and impact from there. So, yeah, for me, this is my strongest play. I'm having double chance on Fulham and to show their worth. Yeah,
I fully agree. Mad that United have done the double over Fulham this season. 2 1-0 wins in 2 games they absolutely did not. Well, the first game was maybe, but the away game, they didn't deserve to win that at all. They're just not playing very well. They're not a very good team. Maybe because the results haven't been like that bad. You know, they should have lost to Everton. They shouldn't have beaten Ipswich, and they've come away with 4 points from the 2 games. We're getting a bit of a better price. Just happy to basically get against United at any opportunity at all. Dan?
Yeah, mate, the same. United are seriously bad at the moment. I may or may not want to speak about them later on too, but I just feel like they probably already have. So I was going to say I feel like an implosion is imminent. I think they probably have already imploded. But even last night, they get that win over Ipswich, and yet the supremacy line here, we'll be completely honest, has dropped. They're still favourites, but it's now 0.1 midpoint. So they win a game, and then it comes down. I don't see them winning this. I think they are so poor. And I think there's an excellent chance for Fulham to get through to
the win last night, the headlines was the fact that Garnacho was substituted and stormed off straight down the tunnel. They've obviously got another red card from a poor tackle. Again, the strikers have got another game. You know, the Ligt scored, own goal, and Harry Maguire. You know, again, they're not creating and scoring those chances at the weekend. It was Fernandez from a free kick. That kind of was their first shot on target. I think was like 75th minute-ish, wasn't it? So, it's just all a mess that they're just kind of stumbling over a line from time to time, enough to, kind of breach a storm, and then it hits again for another couple of weeks. So, yeah, come on, Fulham.
Come on, Fulham. Your words, not mine, but I agree. Right, on to the naps. Our best bets of the weekend, starting with you, Jack, because Dan's been doing poorly recently, so I thought I'd come to the new nap king. The king is dead. Long live the king.
Hurrah! Championship for me.
Exciting. To say the game, I'll try and guess it.
Okay. The game is Queen's Park Rangers versus Sheffield United.
I don't know. By total goal minutes?
Yeah.
Yes.
That is correct. It's the lowest total goal minutes line in the Championship this weekend. Midpoint of 123, which I think is very attackable, hence why I have attacked it as my best bet of the weekend. And I look at it, this is an attacking Queen's Park Rangers side, a side that have picked up again under...
Sorry, Martí Cifuentes.
Yeah,
Martí.
Say it so much better than
Martí Cifuentes. I didn't do that well then as well.
You happy with it?
Martí Cifuentes.
Okay,
there we go.
Lovely. And the Blades aren't quite as watertight as they have been earlier in the season as well. We obviously saw them have that epic clash with Leeds on Monday night, which was another great watch. And I say they couldn't quite hang on, could they? Leeds did what Leeds do. And when they're in that massive run, Sheffield United, the only side that scored against them in their first 10 home games was, of course, Queen's Park Rangers, who did manage to score twice on that occasion. They're in great form at home, and I think this is what leans me to the bet, is the fact that QPR will go into this with confidence. They will go into it with the fact they're expecting to score goals. They've won 7 of their last 8 at home. They've scored multiple goals in all those wins. The first 2 were against Norwich and Oxford to set the ball rolling. So, bringing us into it. And, but they've only kept 1 clean sheet in the last 6 at home. And as far as Sheffield United I'm concerned, they've scored in each of their last 11 away games. And when you look at sides that are a bit more attack-minded or going to have a go at Sheffield United, there was 2-1 wins for Sheffield United at Swansea, Watford and Bristol City, 2-1 defeat at Sunderland, and then 2-2 draws at West Brom and at Coventry. So, as I said, the reverse was 2-2, and this line has been higher in the last 6 Queen's Park Rangers home games. So, taking that to continue.
Lovely stuff. Dan, the former king of the Nats.
Former king, but we'll return this week, I think.
Okay.
I'm buying bookings in Man United versus Fulham.
Ooh, spicy.
40.5, so just over that 40 line, but I think that's okay. United ranked 6th for most cards in the Prem, and Fulham 7th, so both towards the top.
Who's on the whistle?
League there. Stuart Atwell, was that his name? Stuart? Mm-hmm. I've just written Atwell here, so that was a bit of a guess.
Missed that
which doesn't really do anything for my rationale, actually. He's averaging just short of 4 bookings per game, which obviously would fall underneath this line, but I mean, it's there or thereabouts.
I like taking Stuart Atwell games on. He's not one of those ones that's prolific as far as numbers are concerned, but I've said it before, is I'll take his games because I think they have the ability to unravel, which when you're going for higher bookings is what you want, because he can suddenly throw in a performance where he tries to keep a lid on it, for me, and then he just encourages rash tackles and people trying to get away with it a little bit too much. Yeah. And so that's at that point he then books everything later on in the game. So yeah, I think I'd be happy with Atwell.
Yeah, I'm very happy with it. United, obviously, only Arsenal have had more red cards than United in the Premier League this season.
Nice.
Of one last time out. I think this is a bit of a boiling point for Man United, and I think as we suggested, if Fulham go ahead here and look like they're going to win, I think United could blow up and could be cards left, right, and centre. So if that is the case, I think 40.5 probably feels quite low. So happy to go over there and hope it's a feisty affair.
Nice. I'm going to the FA Cup, an all-championship clash between two sides that hate each other in Preston and Burnley. There's no cards market at the moment. I'll be having a look at those though when they come out. But I'm going to go for a buy of total goal minutes here because the goal line is, the spread X is 1.95, 2.15. Now we had some joy last week buying goal minutes in Burnley, Sheffield Wednesday. They won 4-0. Wednesday created loads of opportunities in the game and weren't able to finish any of them. In Marcus Edwards, Burnley have a player they brought in who looks just frankly way too good for the level, and I think will immensely improve their attacking output. And this is a cup game. Like the line here for total goal minutes is 99 to sell, 109 to buy. So the midpoint's 104, and that is incredibly low for any game.
Like ridiculous.
Let alone a cup game where even if it's 0-0 with 10-15 minutes to go, you can have both teams absolutely throwing men forward to try and get the goal to win the game. It feels really low risk to me. Well, I say that, you lose 109 points if it's 0-0. And a lot of Burnley games are 0-0. But the way the Burnley games are going at the moment, they are going to concede a goal at some point relatively soon. A team is going to take a chance against them. But I think their attacking output is improving consistently. So, buying total goal minutes.
Assume they'll rotate James Trafford out for this one as well.
I wouldn't have thought so.
No? Keep it in?
Unless he's like, lads, I really want to get my lad back to my NFL team. So can we take me out so we can concede a goal and bring me back in again?
Yeah.
There we have it. This week's episode of Higher or Lower is done. Enjoy the FA Cup. SpreadX and Sporting Index have you covered for all of these spread betting markets across football and other sports. If you haven't already got an account, click in the link in the show description. There is a new customer offer which you can find there. T's and C's do apply. And remember, with spread betting, losses can exceed your initial deposit. Oddschecker have you covered for all your fixed odds betting needs, best prices, bookie offers, free bets, and plenty more up on site there. And whoscored.com have all the stats you need to inform your betting selections on football. Whocomesfirst.com in the works for Cheltenham.
Yeah, you can lead on that one.
Cool. Thanks to Dan. Thanks to Jack. We'll see you again next week for Higher or Lower. In the meantime, enjoy the football and please ensure that you're gambling responsibly.